What shall we talk about today? What do you want to hear about?
I have a question. Maybe you might start a topic on. I'm working on understanding the difference between intent and want.
To work on something is like trying to do something. Working on applies intellect. Trying applies no possibility. Right? So as long as you're trying to do it, you're not doing it. The moment you do it, you're doing it. And doing it implies whatever the outcome, it's all part of. It's all along the way. It's all the journey along the way. The process of, process being my life. Process and life being the same word. So working on means I'm intellectually figuring out how it should go. I'm working on the working out of the game plan, of the layout, of the metaphor, of the equation. I'm working on it. Working on and being are oxymoronic. Trying is not doing. I'm trying to open the door. Well, just open the door. But if I open the door, something might happen, so it's easier to say I'm spending 5 years trying. Because I can be in an active activity doing nothing, but looking like I'm doing something, so I don't actually have to risk anything. Risking the loss of what you think is the metaphor, or the more awake you become, the equation of transcendence. The moment you're willing to risk the loss of whatever it is you think, whatever it is you need, whatever it is you want, whatever it is that if you lose, you'll lose, the moment you're willing to risk the loss of what you think, transcendence occurs. It turns a tectonic plate over. You actually show up beyond the mind. There's a process involved there, the process in life being the same word. There's a process involved there. And for some of us, so stay tuned for a moment, for some of us, loss is gain. For some of us, the only way to see beyond the mind is to lose what the mind is thinking, needing, wanting. For some of us, for all of us at some time, for some of us, now, loss is gain. You may need to lose your job or your girlfriend or your ideas to get beyond the wall, the cement ideas of the way it should be. So for some of us, loss is gain. But culturally, our idea of loss is negative, bad. Our fear, I can't afford to lose anymore. I'll lose my mind. I'll go insane. I can't handle any more loss. So what we're actually doing is boxing ourselves into an idea of, if I risk the loss of what I think, if I risk standing up in movement and I lose any more, it's all lost. So I'll go back to trying. Because that's safe. I can write on Facebook all day long, I'm trying, and everybody thinks I'm doing something, and I don't actually have to do anything because other people are trying too. The act of doing is where miracles are born. The act of process. And the act of process, the act of doing, is the lack of knowing intellectually. You can't do something you've never done and know what you're doing, yes? But you can do something you've never done from a visionary stance. When you see it, whatever it is that your life is spent in a worthy cause of, whatever you have to go through for it to manifest, does it really matter? You have a child and you see the child growing up. You know your child will grow up. You pray your child will outlive you, but you know your child will grow up. Some children don't, some children die. But you know your child will grow up. And along the way, your child gets hurt, gets a disease, has a bad night, has a nightmare, gets an F on a test, gets in a fight. Along the way is along the way. You know your child is growing up. You know it. You know your child is growing up. You know it. You're not going to wake up one day and your child is gone. You're not going to wake up one day and your child is dead. You're not going to wake up one day and your child never was. You know your child is growing up, yes? You gave birth to your child, you diapered it, you fed it. You know your child is growing up. And what happens along the way is called life. We don't work on our children. We don't try at our children. We don't want for our children. We do. We know our children are, and then we spend our lives in a worthy cause. No matter how it goes, sometimes it doesn't go well for a day or a week or a month, and then it starts to go well, yes? But you're looking at a 100-year lifespan, a 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-year lifespan of a child. Is it allowed to go okay and not okay? Are you committed no matter what that the child grow up healthy, wealthy, and wisdomful? Yes or no?
Yes.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. If you don't have a child but your best friend or your sister or someone, you know that child is growing up. There are bad times. There are times where the child has a high fever and you hear my child needs to have a surgery and it's $20,000 and we don't have, do you get the money? Yes or no?
Yes.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yes.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. You don't give up or say, this child's not working out, let's put it on the shelf and get another child. You don't try at earning $20,000. A child has to have a surgery. You get the $20,000, yes or no?
Yep.
You don't wonder if the child is going to disappear in the middle of a Tuesday. You don't think back on, maybe I should stuff the child back into my uterus and not have had it. It's all spent in a worthy cause. A visionary is one who has a child that isn't seen yet, that's birthed an aptitude and in the investigation of self. Only that child isn't visible to others yet. And the activity that you take, the action that you take, is about the growth of this child. And you know. I know that I know. And when you know what you know, then you know what you don't know. But until you know, what you don't know is all camouflaged in want, in fear of loss. We don't fear the loss of our child. Our child is already here. And we may fear the loss of not getting the $20,000 or fear the loss of the child doing well in that grade or having to retake that grade again but we can't get rid of the child. The child must grow. So our ideas and our terms and our fears literally outgrow themselves as the child grows. Only we live in America. It's a very futuristic society, so it doesn't remember itself again to the impossibility that became possible. It calls it luck, and it moves on into the next fear and succumbing and getting beyond that fear before it eats you. But if you know that thing that you're bringing into existence is your child, only your child isn't seen yet by anyone else, but you see it, you know you've birthed it, you know it belongs to you, you know the temperature and the temperament and the movement and the color and the texture and the smell of this vision. And when you speak to people about it and they say, yeah, whatever, or yeah, you can do it, or you can't raise that kind of money, or what, are you kidding? You've met this vision, you've seen it, you've slept with it, you've talked about it to yourself. You've read about it, you've seen sparks of it along the way. Your imagination brings it up and you see it and then it goes away. Can anyone take that from you? Only you can put enough sand over it to forget that it's there, but it's still there. You just covered it with sand. You make a sand castle and the water washes over it. Does that mean the sand castle wasn't? No, it was. Something just washed over it. Can you bring the sand castle present again? Absolutely.